the whole thing needs to change. And for me, I wonder if people see it this way. When you hear the word change, it's more intricate than just fire the manager, fire the GM. Okay, maybe. But there are more ways, right? There's more than one way to eat a Reese's. So change.
I hate that analogy.
Because
there really is only one way to eat a Reese's.
Not true. I mean, yes, with your mouth, but I mean,
sure.
You could cut a hole in the center.
Okay. It's
right?
just weird. I don't even want you to break it down.
Use your left hand.
It's really
you could use your right hand. You could use no hand. Use a fork. Okay,
that's really weird.
Knife
and fork,
but you're allowed to.
Fine,
you're allowed to, right? Have you ever gone after a burrito with a knife and fork? Have you ever done it?
I have, but I felt really bad about it.
Well, sometimes,
it's
right?
Terrible.
Go to a Mexican restaurant, they put the sauce all over it. You're not going to pick the thing up.
It's a wet burrito. Yeah,
there you go, knife and fork.
Never a fan of the wet burrito, but go ahead.
But it's allowed anyway. So
many things are allowed. Yeah,
I think the mindset certainly has to change. The mindset has to change. And, I listen, that was already true last offseason. And so this year didn't work. But a lot of us, and I know for some of you think, gosh, Mark was the last one here. Yeah, maybe that's the case. But I was totally disappointed with last offseason. They need better players. Sometimes we get into this. It's not really that intricate of a conversation.
It's pretty simple.
They need better players. And they tried to go get a bunch in the offseason, and it didn't work. And you can't do that. It has to work. So if your A option doesn't happen, you've got to go about it with your B, C, and D option. And I don't know if they had the B, C, and D option. You can say Haniger and Conforto, but that didn't work. And so if you keep getting free agents to say no, yes, it's time to think trade. I'm so excited about Kyle Harrison. I want him to be on the Giants, but I'd listen. If it means Juan Soto.
Or Pete Alonso.
Or whatever. You got to change. And by the way, Farhan and Gabe, what the hell do you have to lose?
Not much.
Your job.
Yes.
Because that's what's going to be gone if you don't change the mindset.
You have to change more than the mindset. You have to change the roster, and you have to change the mindset of your fan base. That, to me, is the bigger issue. Because right now, and I use you as an example because you probably go to, I'd say, 15 games a year, which is a lot considering you've got 3 kids and 4 jobs and a whole bunch of stuff going on. You go as often as you possibly can.
Absolutely.
You've indoctrinated your children to be Giants fans. It's important to you.
Poor kids.
Yeah, but, I mean, it wouldn't be poor kids if this product was more exciting. Yep. You might go to 20 games instead of, 10 or 11 or whatever the number is. But their job is multi-fold. 1, get better. 2, get more exciting. And 3, actually win and go to the playoffs and be a thing in September and October, because I was listening to Steiny and Guru earlier. Warriors season opener is 4 weeks from now, and we're all knee-deep in the 49ers. And even if you ranked like non-49er NFL, that would be ahead of the Giants right now. And I would even put Colorado football ahead of the Giants in terms of...
no doubt.
Like, what are you interested in right now? And that's a problem, Coach.
Absolutely it is.
It's a major problem.
So we played some sound for you a few minutes ago, and if you're driving around, you probably couldn't gather all the words, so I'm going to read them to you. But before I read them to you, I think it's interesting to hear the dichotomy of what's going on. The Giants won last night. Logie threw a CG, okay? You don't get a lot of CGs anymore in baseball. It's a complete game for those of you who don't speak back of baseball card.
Thanks.
Got a CG. So listen to this again. You may not be able to hear all the words, but listen to the vibe in the background, because this is party time. This is Club Dub. This is what it sounds like in the clubhouse when you win, but wait till you hear what Logan was saying with the party music in the background.
I'm tired of losing. It's not enjoyable. It's not fun. There's some big changes in here to really to create that winning culture that we want to show up every single year and try to win the whole thing. I think we're there. It's just we gotta. I don't know what it is, but I'm just sick of losing.
All right, over all of that music in the background, here's what Logan was saying. I'm tired. I'm tired of losing. It's not fun. We've got to make some big changes in here to create that winning culture. We want to show up every single year and try to win the whole thing. I mean, I think we're there. I don't know what it is. I'm just sick of losing. To be honest, it's never fun. With party music.
Sure.
Blaring over his words.
Well, it's especially telling that they didn't lose. And he pitched a complete game. He gave up one run, and they won 2-1. So the fact that he made those comments after a win, and after a win that basically kept alive their very, very grim and slim playoff hopes, and yet he chose that opportunity because that's when he's got the microphone. They're not going to ask him anything for 4 more days, and he might be done pitching. He might get one more start. We don't know.
By the way, they didn't ask him about that. They didn't say, so, how, Clubhouse in general, future of the team, what do you think? They asked him if his goal, how high on his list of goals was it to win a Cy Young? He took the answer there.
Right. Basically, what he's saying is, I should win the Cy Young, but I won't because we don't score when I play. When I pitch, we don't score, and therefore I don't win. And I know wins, they're not the most important thing, but they are a thing. He has 24 quality starts, and he's 11-13 on the year.
Well, I mean, what he was saying was, sure, that'd be great, but I don't care about the Cy Young. I want to win.
Right.
I want this team to win.
Well, and if the team
and they do
was
go hand
winning,
in hand. You're right.
If the team was winning, if he was, 33 starts, if he was, 18-9 with the same exact numbers of a 3.25 ERA, a whip of 107, leading the majors in innings pitched, he'd have a much better case. And I know it's a little bit of an old school mindset, but when you see a guy 11-13 for a team that's barely sniffing 500, you don't get to be the Cy Young Award winner.
I mean, I'm sort of with Logan here. When he starts to backtrack a little bit, he can tell he made a big statement, and then he's like, I don't know what it is, and obviously this is above my pay grade. I'm with him. I'm less defined than some of you are. Fire Gabe. Fire Farhan. Hashtag. That's not where I am. I'm not there. But very significant differences need to be evident when this team comes back around to play baseball again. That has to do with approach. That has to do with game plan. That has to do with star power. That has to do with the mental side, the approach of the players in terms of their competitiveness and accountability. There needs to be locker room leaders that are speaking up. Gabe needs to speak up a lot more. Farhan needs to be more aggressive about the future. Needs to be more aggressive with trades. That word's going to keep coming up. Aggressiveness. Even within games. Even within games. You're slow. You're slow. You're waiting for 3 hits in a row in an age where everybody strikes out every other at bat. So how often do the Giants do that? Hit, strikeout, walk. Oh, the bases are loaded with 1 out. Strikeout, sit down.
Or 6-4-3 or
constantly.
Couple of pop outs.
Constantly. Yeah. There needs to be someone to come up and hit the ball into the bay. Juan Soto. But anyway, here's the other part of this, and this is from Andy Baggerly's awesome article on The Athletic, and you all need to know this as well. So he writes, outfielder Mike Yastrzemski, Tyro Estrada, and Wilmer Flores are among those who sought to refocus a clubhouse that has included too many ho-hum reactions to losing, along with a near zealotry to Pusoy, a Filipino card game that Jock Peterson and some other Giants players appear to find more compelling than studying the night's opposing starting pitcher. Okay, that's really, really important. And how about this? From an anonymous player.
Ooh.
Oh, gosh.
When anonymous people start speaking, you know that there's trouble in the clubhouse.
Granted anonymity so that he could speak freely. Quote,
grant anonymity?
He was granted anonymity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thought that was
his
the
name
guy's
was
name.
not grant anonymity.
Okay, cool.
Granted anonymity in order to speak freely. Quote, when's the last time you heard music in a Major League clubhouse after a loss? I mean, you shouldn't hang your head for too long after a loss, but you shouldn't be okay with it either. And that was in response to the fact that somewhere along the road here, somebody with the Giants started playing. You couldn't play your party music, but they could play reggae. They played Bob Marley after the loss.
Just put your mind at ease. It's just one game, bro.
Oh.
Smoke up, Johnny.
Yeah, light it up. We've only lost 25 of the last 30.
Yeah.
So, look, there's a Warriors comp here. Remember how bad the Warriors were on the road last year? And we guessed at times, boy, why are they're so good at home, but they can't win on the road? I wonder if that's like a chemistry thing. I wonder if there's something wrong with the vibe with the Warriors. Like these guys just can't seem to get on the same page, and they're not, they don't have that instinct that's needed. Yeah, that's correct. After the season, it was all proven. It was all admitted. Well, here you go. How come the Giants stunk so bad on the road once we got to the dog days this year? Well, because some guys really wanted to win, and some guys really wanted to play cards.
Right, and listen to reggae. And I think it's interesting in terms of the Warriors comp because at the start of the year, you had what felt like a bit of a fractured locker room in the making, and one of the team leaders handled it in a way that turned out to not be the most ideal way of handling a fractured locker room. One teammate knocked another teammate out, and that sent the entire season into a certain direction. This Giants team had who knows how long back this problem went, but we do know that Tyro Estrada had a players-only meeting and probably addressed some of these things, and he's quoted in the Andy Baggerly piece as one of the voices who is a little bit displeased about the direction that the team took, and yet nothing changed. So where was the clubhouse leadership for the Giants? Is it Brandon Crawford? Is it,
not in the same way. It's too quiet.
And what other veteran do you have? And that's been my point about this team all along. Jock Peterson is probably the closest thing to a leader in terms of tenure, alpha personality, outgoing, and all the rest of it. You have a group of young guys.
That's an interesting comment. I get what you mean in terms of like his cachet.
You got Haniger and Conforto, who are both new and both injured.
Jock is not an alpha personality.
No, but he's outgoing.
An alpha personality does not get punched in left field and stand there and look at
Slapped.
you. That's not an alpha personality.
Believe me, I was very critical of him taking that from Tommy Pham.
I don't care if that's what you do. If that's you, but you're beta. You're not alpha.
Sure, but who is then? And that's my point about
Logan
this clubhouse.
Logan Webb.
But he's a pitcher.
Yeah,
and
that's okay.
In baseball clubhouses, every fifth day pitcher is not going to have that kind of a command over the room.
You need both, I think. Like imagine Jock Peterson. You've lost 5 in a row on the road, and you've got a big game coming up that night, and you're like,
let's play some Pusoy.
Let's play some Pusoy. We don't need. I say it so slow.
Hey, thank you,
Buster Pusoy. You want to play cards rather than study the iPad, and next to you in that clubhouse are Buster Posey and Mad Bum. Okay, like that's not going down.
That card table's getting flipped,
exactly,
and we're gonna throw some hands here. Right. And I'm not talking hands of Pusoy.
But Jock showed up right when Buster left, and I think the Giants clubhouse became a less serious place immediately.
Right, and
immediately.
That's my point. You've got Haniger and Conforto, a couple of veterans who are new and both in and out, and they're injured. You've got 4 or 5 absolute pups who are getting shuttled from Sacramento to San Francisco and back. Your various Mecklers and your Baileys and Joey Bart, and it's all the rest of these guys. They're not here, and they're too young to even be asked to do that. You got Captain Prearb 3 in Yastrzemski, who, yeah, he could lead, but he's not an everyday stabilizing force. You got Lamont Wade. You got Wilmer, who's a quiet cat. Tyro Estrada missed 2 months. J.D. Davis, we had him on the show, and he's well thought out, but he's not exactly a, guys, let me tell you how it's going to go, leader kind of player. They didn't have that person in the clubhouse.
Juan Soto's a great idea, by the way, for all kinds of reasons. Not just the obvious ones that he would be the best Giants hitter since Barry Bonds. But
he's on a tear of late.
He's a great player. He's a great player.
Slow start to the year.
Yeah.
He has been on an absolute tear.
But the San Diego Padres are going to probably want to do something about money because everybody's making $400 million over there. So they're probably going to want to do something about money. They're also coming off of a wildly disappointing season. I mean, imagine the Giants having this kind of a record and also a ton of talent, a truckload of talent, and their record would be 78-80. Imagine. Now, that's the Padres. Okay, so they're going to want to make changes. They're going to want to do something about payroll. And if you go back about, how many months ago was this? If you go back a month and a half, you will find that there was a Padre player who started chirping about the clubhouse and talking about how things just didn't add up in terms of the effort and focus necessary to win. You want to know who made those comments? Juan Soto. Juan Soto did. He tried. He tried to become a leader in that Padre clubhouse. Hard to do when Tatis and Miguel Cabrera, or not Miguel Cabrera, Machado, yeah. Manny Machado, have been there for years, and those are the guys, and they have a much more kind of a swaggy, lollygag type of a vibe
Juan's
to him.
only 24, even though he's been in the bigs for about 14 years.
Yeah,
Exactly. Came up as a 10-year-old.
He can be a leader. He absolutely is old enough to be a leader, and maybe the perfect bridge to lead what's obvious. There's a brigade of 20-somethings about to join the Giants. So who do you want leading Luciano? Who do you want? I love the Soto idea.
Sure.
I love it.
No, it's great, and I wonder what it would take in terms of prospects because, well, if I'm San Diego and I look at a roster that is overrun by $30 and $40 million a year guys, Soto's the guy I'm not getting rid of. I mean, I'd be much more willing to trade Machado than, and I know you're probably going to lose Blake Snell to free agency. He's going to go elsewhere. But
finance game. Soto's got one more year left.
Right. He's, I think, arbitration this year.
Right, but then he's going to need the big old shaboom. He's going to need the $500 million after next year.
But if I'm San Diego, I would rather give him the $500 million and deal with the other guys on my roster and get rid of them as opposed to get rid of Juan.
Right, but I don't like those guys have already been signed to those deals that are very, very hard to trade. And that's why the rumors are out there that Juan Soto is a piece. Yeah, you're right. He's got ARB 4 coming next year.
Good old ARB 4.
He's making $23 million this year. So he'll get a little raise off of that.
Xander's getting 25.5 next year. Machado's only making 17. Man, he doesn't go up to $39 million until 2027.
Right.
He goes 39, 39, 39, 39 in 2030. Yikes.
Nobody's acquiring that deal.
Oh, and I forgot to mention 39, 39, 39, 39 after that.
Yep.
Through 2033.
Correct.
That's a lot of meat on that bone.
Tatis, Bogarts, Machado, you're not trading those deals. No one's taking those deals.
Well,
Juan Soto, now you only got him for 1 year, but he's not that expensive. He's going to cost you a bunch of prospects. Yep, fine. You get the left-handed hitter you've been wanting for so long who will never choose here. And that's actually the only concern about Soto because then he becomes a free agent.
Right.
Right? Like, if I'm the Giants, I don't just acquire him. I put the bag in front of him right away. So let's do this. Whatever they wouldn't give you in Washington, let's do this right now.
The major bag alert.
You want 12 years and $470 million?
Wow.
$550 million? What are you waiting for, Giants? You got all the money in the world. What's the hesitation? What would be the hesitation? Put that guy in the middle of your order?
You don't want to trade Kyle Harrison. That's the hesitation.
For Juan Soto?
You asked me what the hesitation is. That's the hesitation.
Yeah.
So
I would do that.
Farmhan, all he's done, the only thing he's done really well is reestablish the farm system. And so now you're asking him to gut the farm to bring in a guy who maybe won't sign here. I mean, it's risky. I'm all for it. bring in some splash.
I mean,
bring in Pete Alonso too.
More than half the
And
fan base was
Bellinger.
running around here in July going trade for Shohei. Now you're afraid to take a risk? That was going to be for 10 weeks.
I'm not afraid to take a risk. Is he?
He's not taking a risk because he's going to get fired if he doesn't do it.
Yeah, true.
So I don't see what the risk is.